Hi, my name is Brandon Hines. Today I'm going to be presenting for Cyber-511, our first lab of the first week. If you find this on your YouTube For You page, your YouTube For You page is messed up. So for the students and the professor, today I'll be talking about getadmiral.com, the domain that I picked from our bounty. It's a company called Admiral that does anti-ad blocking software for websites like the Army Times and Wall Street Journal. When I saw that, I thought it was very interesting. Um, it does seem like they already have a pretty hardened target, having been on the website for a while, so finding some information was a little bit difficult, as I'll be getting into, but I think I got about everything. The first thing that I did is I used the whois.com to get information about Kit Admiral. I also did this in the command line, but it just produced the raw data that this is going to show us, where a lot of it's redacted. As I've talked about in class, if I had talked about it in class, a lot of this area is redacted, and that can be gotten by some different means that I'll show later in this presentation. But it can also be gotten through a subpoena through a government organization. I don't know how often subpoenas are faked to get that, but that's super illegal. Probably shouldn't try that. There's also different DNS records that are sold across that you can spend a couple dollars to get all this data not revoked or redacted, but I didn't want to go across and do that. I took a series of free open source routes. After I pinged Get Admiral to make sure that I connect to it, who is definitely gave me that information. I used traceroute to see how many jumps I had between where I was at the time and Get Admiral. I had 12 in this specific situation. And then I had to find the organizational structure. I did use programs such as Amass and Miriam, and I also used the Harvester, but the Harvester didn't give anything at all for anything from this domain. And I don't know if that's because the target's already been hardened or I've been using it incorrectly, but a lot of their information was very difficult to find after a lot of searches. So I used Crunchbase, which is this website that people put their startups information on so that they can get investors. So we found the CEO here, Dan Rua, all of his contact information, office phone, personal phone, co-founders, names, links to LinkedIn accounts. And this is a paid system to get these. I started a free trial to be able to use it, and you can see down here on the final picture. I had to cancel it right here. This is me canceling Crunchbase, and that's important because if anybody wants to use it and get this information and actually have it not blurred, you're going to have to do that, and you don't want to forget because that will be a $588 subscription price to you after 5 days for a year of service, and that's ridiculous. So, like I was talking before, I used Miriam to find the LinkedIn accounts, and it gave me a lot of different things. Ran into an interesting problem here with Google CAPTCHA being triggered. So it's figuring out that it's a robot going through the whole thing. I'd like to see something using this where it would pop up the CAPTCHA somehow and I could be able to manually import it to continue searching. Because I'm not a robot, or at least I like to think so. And I think that would be a good feature. Or if there is and I'm missing that, please tell me. Got a lot of different links getting back. Some stuff kind of all over the place. Had to really get this out of here. Like Wells Fargo jobs, not great. These with the company, Get Admiral, GoLand projects. I think that's something that they wanted to see a little bit more hidden. It doesn't seem like a URL that they would want public, but see some other good stuff like these Get Admiral, Join Admiral. Matt Goff, he's one of the people up there. Dan Rua is up here somewhere. I think I went over him. Where is he? Going right over it, I know it. There it is. After Trevor W. Abbott, who is one of the co-founders. So that's how I knew that this was on the right area generally. Then I confirmed email addresses using Hunter.io, which is the plugin that you can use on your Firefox browser to find the email addresses and where they're sourced on the internet. So they research a bunch of this stuff, and then you put in your domain, and they find all the emails and their locations, and it gives you this badge on the left that shows you how accurate it is and all sources that you can find. So when I was opening Scott Judy, for example, a lot of these sources were different articles that had been written about them. Gives their Twitter account. Dan Rua has, this is the phone number for 15 sources for that. That's good. And their email, which has a combination of 19 sources. So that is how I was able to confirm that all of these were legitimate. And that is the extent of that research. I also did some other stuff that I'll show about here on Meltego. So after getting all of the transforms installed that come with the community edition, which are all of these, except for the ones that required APIs like search transforms, CE. This one requires a Bing API that is about to show me that I'm going to need right here, and that's not something that I could find immediately. So we used the free, everything free that we didn't need to download APIs for. So we'll go to this graph right here, and looking at Get Admiral. It limited the amount of other domains that they owned because of the community version. So I have 13 here. mygetadmiral.com, getadmiral.com, www.getadmiral.com, storage.getadmiral.com. You can read all these. And then the actual website that it was linked to. These are all the email servers, the MXs that were associated with it. The NSs, I wanted to make sure were correct because it does look like gibberish here. And in the example in the textbook, the Linux textbook, the servers that were used for the authoritative response to the IP addresses did not look like this. So what I did is I went into the command line and used the tool NSLOOKUP to get the non-authoritative answer, which is 39, 190, 171, 217. And then after that, as shown in the textbook, I used dig ns and then the domain of my target, which is getadmiral.com. At that point, it gave me the location or the name in the answer section of the two servers, DNS servers, that have the authoritative answer on them. So I was able to use that. And if I go down on here and I say .com and then anuj.ns.com, this will connect to that specific server right here and give me the authoritative IP address, which was the same as the non-authoritative IP address. And because it wasn't bouncing around directly from my ISP, I was able to get that. This is all the information that I had. We didn't find anything in regards to files that were hidden or didn't want to be shown using Google Dorks, and anything that would have used dorking specifically also would have been showed up on Meltego. So that concludes my project, and appreciate it. Thank you.